You know what? That went really well.
Well, maybe you can.
Good morning. It is Monday. It is just about 6 a.m. and we're just gonna get on the treadmill, honestly, and watch some TV while we run. I am really tired this morning, and I mean, I went to bed at a somewhat reasonable hour. I got maybe 6 hours, 15 minutes, over 6 hours of sleep, but I don't know. I'm just starting today off a little mentally drained, so gonna make it easy on myself. Start the week off chill. Tuesday morning, slept not even decent. Slept terrible. My one New Year's goal of maybe trying to sleep a little bit better, it's not going so well so far. But doesn't matter. It's 5:40. We've got some speed work to get in. We're doing 200-meter repeats today. Yeah, not much to say. We just got to get moving. All right. Well, the heart rate is doing okay. Legs feel super heavy though. And part of that's because of the cold. The reality is, your muscles need that blood flow, and it takes longer for that blood flow to happen when you are cold. It's why if you have a cold race, you actually want to wear warm-ups and then shed those at the latest possible second in the race. You may even want to wear, a windbreaker or pullover that you can ditch in the first few miles, right? But just rough night, guys. I'm just tired. I feel like this vlog is just me saying I'm tired in different ways, and probably feel like I'm complaining a lot. I do feel like I'm complaining a lot, but we're getting it done. Gonna finish the warm-up here. We're gonna change our shoes, hit some strides, and we're gonna get after it. No other choice but to get it done. I'm going from the Speedberry trainers, which is a up-tempo trainer, to the Wave Rebellion Pro 3, which is a marathon race shoe. Now, like I said before, these shoes are crazy aggressive, so that's why I'm not warming up in them. In the ideal world, I think you stick just to the workout portion of your run in your racing shoes, because they are aggressive and harsh on your feet. Sometimes it's just inconvenient though to have to switch your shoes and stuff mid-workout if you're tight on time, but these are way too aggressive for me to warm up in, so. You know what? That went really well. I had to cut out my cool down, so I didn't do my final mile, but that was just going to be about a mile, mile and a half easy. And I cut it short by two 200, so I was going to get about 5.4K, and I only got 5K exactly, but ran well above the necessary paces. Felt relaxed, felt smooth, felt fast. That was really nice, actually. And yeah, I mean, we're kind of tapering this week. It's going to be a little bit lower overall volume, just trying to get some freshness back in the legs. And I don't know if this is a super compensation from last week of a really high volume week, and then we're going to ease in and have a really good 5K, but man, we'll see, huh? We'll see. Wave Rebellion Pro 3, crazy fast shoe. But you got to run on your forefoot, and if that's not your natural stride, these do wear you down. So I think 200-meter repeats for me was actually the perfect workout for this shoe. Felt smooth, felt bouncy, felt fast. At the end of the workout, my calves, my feet, my arches, Achilles, they're all really tired. So awesome shoe, very much a forefoot efficient stride striking person shoe. Probably not a me shoe, but I see the value. I wish it was a me shoe, And I'm looking forward to, the release of the Wave Rebellion Pro Low, which is essentially a less aggressive version of this shoe. So we'll see how that feels on foot, because I like the foam. All right, I just dropped my son off at school. Slept in a little bit, woke up, was just really tired and really wanted to get more sleep. So went back to bed and was able to get 7 hours, which is actually a win, because more sleep is always going to be better for me. And that's something that I've really been slacking on. So was glad to be able to get 7 hours. I now need to get my run in, and looking at my work schedule, I'm realizing I'm not going to be able to do it during lunch. So I'm going to work through lunch. So I've got basically an hour now that I can do it. It's 8:30. So 8:30 to 9:30. Got to go get my run done at kind of an unusual time, but essentially it's the same idea of actually running during your lunch break. So we're going to have a little unusual, little untraditional schedule today. It is what it is. We're testing out, breaking out some more shoes. We're going to be testing out the Brooks Glycerin 22. A lot of people really like the 21. I found that the foam was really supportive, yet was a little bit firm. My biggest knock on the Glycerin, or kind of the more traditional Brooks models, are they're just so high drop that that's not going to be my natural stride. It's not really what I would gravitate towards. But these have the new DNA tuned foam, which was in the Glycerin Max, and it's a lot softer, it's a lot bouncier as well. So I'm wondering if the higher drop won't feel quite as drastic with kind of a softer, more responsive foam. So really curious to see how these are going to feel, and obviously I'll do a comparison video with the 21 here soon. All right, well, got that run done, got 7 miles in, like a 10:30 pace. My legs are garbage, they're so trash, very tired, very tight today. So it is what it is, easy run, just kind of recovery run. Pace was slower, heart rate was a little elevated, but to be expected. So glad I got a little extra sleep, because my run probably would have been bad had I woken up then, and at least I got the sleep and recovery. So all right, let's get to work. First few meetings of the day, and we're basically working all the way through till 5, so let's get it done. Also, just did some testing. So did actually 1 foot in each shoe for the Glycerin 21 versus the Glycerin 22. At least first impressions are that the Glycerin 22 is softer, which was to be expected with DNA tuned, versus the DNA Loft nitrogen injected. So gonna be softer. The fit is generally the same. Like, you've got some plush tongue, plush heel counter, just generally plush overall. And the fit, as far as like toe box and width, like a little bit more narrow through the midfoot, a little bit more accommodating toe box than previous Brooks models, right? So that's kind of becoming a little bit more of their MO for newer models, is a little bit more accommodating. They used to be really narrow, a little bit more accommodating. Lengthwise, true to size, to maybe a tiny bit long, but not long enough to size down. But just with that DNA tuned, this becomes a little bit more of a standard daily trainer in my mind, and a little bit less of a max cushion shoe. And I think that that is what Brooks is kind of trying to do with the Glycerin line, right? So you have the Glycerin Max and you have the Ghost Max. So those, I think the Glycerin's gonna be like your responsive cushioning option, and then the Ghost line is gonna be your supportive cushioning option, right, for dailies. And then you have the Glycerin Max and the Ghost Max. Ghost Max is your true max cushion, like supportive foam. And then the Glycerin Max is gonna be your true max cushion, more responsive foam, right? So we're seeing this on some other brands. Nike's doing something similar with the Pegasus line versus the Vomero line, right? Pegasus is more responsive, Vomero is more cushioned, and then you're gonna have Vomero, Vomero Plus, Vomero Premium, Pegasus, Pegasus Plus, Pegasus Premium, right? So with Brooks, you have Ghost line, more supportive foam, Glycerin line, more responsive foam, and then Hyperion line, that's their performance line. So I might just at some point make like a breakdown of the brands as we see kind of how things roll out in 2025. But overall, I do think that the Glycerin 22 is an upgrade over the 21, unless you are someone who wanted a little bit firmer foam. I may go as far as to say, like, Glycerin loyalists may want to go over to the Ghost Max. may be a closer overall experience as the foam continues to get a little bit bouncier, a little bit more responsive, because the current or former DNA Loft foam, that is pretty much what is in the Ghost Max, right? The Ghost Max, I believe though, is just a little bit higher stack. So, and Ghost Max is higher stack, lower drop, right? So that's where, you know, Glycerin fans, traditional Glycerin fans, even with the higher drop, you may want to go Ghost, just straight to the normal Ghost in 2025, as opposed to the Glycerin, or just snag up a bunch of the older models of the Glycerin while they're on sale. So lots of changes, lots of shifts within Brooks. They believe they got new product designers. I think they got a new CEO. We're seeing them utilize PIBA in a lot of their shoes in 2025, or not a lot, but in a number of their shoes in 2025. So Brooks is changing it up. They're still keeping the Ghost and Glycerin lines, right? And the Ghost and Glycerin models, as well as the Adrenaline or the Launch as well, are gonna they'll stay somewhat true, but this is a big shift. Not always from year to year do you get a big shift in the shoe. This is a big shift in the shoe, so it may not, like the 23, I expect to be very almost unrecognizable from the former Glycerin models. So just keep that in mind. If you like the 21, snag them while you can. Morning, it is Thursday, and I have a tempo workout, and I am tired. It's like my children, they know when I get to bed late and have a big workout in the morning, and pretty sure from the hours of 1 to 5 when my alarm went off, they were up every hour, basically on the hour, and all three. It wasn't just one, it was all three. So I'm wrecked, I'm tired. I do not want to run right now. I love running, I really do. I'm tired. I really just, it's cold. If, you know, if I was just getting on the treadmill, I maybe wouldn't mind as much, but what I found is with these longer tempo workouts, they just don't go well on the treadmill for me. I feel like I end up fighting the treadmill. So anyway, we're gonna get some pre-workout in. I'm gonna get some food, eat something really quick. And then we're gonna get going, because I was slow to get ready because I'm tired, and but need to get running so we can get back and get my son to school. All right, I put on my Instagram, by the way, a little bit of a Q&A. I just took my pre-workout and had a snack. I'm gonna let that settle. Make sure I don't need to go to the bathroom one more time before I get outside. And I may throw on a jacket. Under Armour, shout out Under Armour. They did send me some free winter gear. So this pullover, as well as the tights I'm wearing, and the jacket I would grab, which I do think I'm gonna grab. All part of their winter run collection. I don't know, I haven't looked into it. They didn't send me any specific details. Actually didn't even know they were sending it. They just sent it over with some of their shoes to review. So I don't get apparel very often from running brands. I probably could just ask, like, hey, is there anything from the spring lines that you could send over for me to try? So I'll probably do that a little bit more, but I need to donate some clothes if that's the case, because I've got a lot that I already don't really wear a ton because I just have accumulated it throughout the years. Anyway, one of the questions I've gotten over the last couple of weeks is, what running tights do you wear in the winter? And I don't have a specific type that I go to. Like, I will shout out one, John G has some fleece line tights, and they have a wind resistant material on the front. Those ones are really nice because it is like a pants and tight combo, right? So they're actually almost like a little bit more loose up top, but they sit like a tight on the calves and like the legs. So those are really nice. They're really, really warm, like very, very warm, to the point that, like, if you are not running in snow, or if you are not running, you know, it's got to be pretty much single digits or negative, I think, for those to not overheat you. Because even in like 15-degree weather for me, it's too warm sometimes for those. Outside of that, again, it's just running tights that I've accumulated from brands throughout the years. Sometimes, I've had a few, like I have a pair of Merrell trail tights that are really nice that I did get from a campaign with them from a couple of years ago. REI sent me some of their Swiftland tights. Those are nice. And outside of that, like, I have some Under Armour tights, I have Asics tights, I have Nike tights. They're all good. I usually buy them on clearance because tights are expensive, long tights at least, right? Well, really, all running gear nowadays is expensive. But I don't have a specific brand or like specific winter running tight that I would recommend widely. And it's because, again, I don't test the latest apparel. I just have accumulated stuff throughout the years. So even if I could tell you what it is, I don't know if that's going to be available for purchase. Question number 2 that was really frequent was, am I still chasing the 3-hour marathon? And the answer is yes. Right now I'm chasing the 18 minute 40 second 5K though. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to hit the race equivalent, or like fitness equivalent, of a sub 3-hour marathon in every distance, working up to the marathon just to kind of fine tune those skills along the way. So I hit the 5:30 mile. I need to hit the 18:45K. I'm going to time trial next weekend, see how it goes. Need to hit a sub 39 minute 10K, sub 127, I think, half, and I want to shoot for 125 if I can. And then the sub 3 marathon. So I don't have a timeline set on it. Like, when's my next attempt? I'm not sure. I'm considering signing up for a marathon at the end of this year because I do believe I can hit my 5K and 10K goal this year. And I think that the half marathon will happen. So I have, like, along the way to the marathon, so I have a half marathon in mind, maybe in October. So my hope is I can hit the 5K here in a week. I'm not confident, to be honest. So if I don't hit it, I'm gonna go base build. Even if I do hit it, I'm gonna go base build for 8 to 12 weeks, just because I need to take a break. It's time for me to periodize some. And then after the 8 to 12 weeks of base building, we'll go and tackle the 10K, then move to the half and move to the full. But the sub 3 is still very much the overarching goal. And we're making progress. Now, the last question that I got from the last recurring question I got was, how did I become a shoe reviewer? And that's not something that happened overnight necessarily. I've been making running content for the last 4 years now, maybe 5 years. And when I first started out, I'm actually a running coach. Not everyone knows that because a lot of people know me either from my running vlogs or from my shoe reviews. So they may not know that I am a running coach. I used to be overweight. I got myself in shape, and then I got into running. After a few years of running, I found that, like, the information out there on social media was really confusing. So I wanted to share not just hey, run zone 2, but like the why behind zone 2, right? Which, come to find out, it doesn't have to be zone 2, right? So, like, that's what was important to me, was sharing information, but also sharing the why, because that's how I learned, and I figured there were a lot of other newer runners who would benefit from that. That really took off on TikTok. It kind of blew up. I have basically 110,000 followers there. And along the way, I wanted to become more involved, and I knew I wanted to review running shoes, but I also wanted to spend less money on running shoes. So what I did was I partnered with my local running store, and I ran their social media, specifically their TikTok, right? So I was a contractor for the store. I would go there 2 to 3 times a week, record a bunch of content, and I was posting daily, as well as managing interactions and engagement on their TikTok. And they paid me a salary, or they paid me a fee. And on top of that, when new releases would come out, I could either get them at a discount, or sometimes the sales reps for the brands would be able to seed me a pair for free because I was a contractor for the store and needed it to create content for the store, right? That helped me, 1, make connections, 2, not spend as much to do my reviews, and then 3, it really kind of introduced me into like some of the back end of like how that worked and got me really comfortable doing reviews. From there, I went to the running event in 2023 and I got more exposure to a lot of brands. I didn't really make the brand connections at that point because I didn't really know what I was doing. But I made a goal coming out of TRE in 2023 that I was going to go in 2024 on my own merit, representing myself, not for a running store. So I'm no longer affiliated with my local running store. I'm still friends with them, but just some things didn't work out. So we've since split and are on good terms. So in 2024, I went back to the running event as myself, as media. And throughout all of 2024, I had been networking with both brands. So I was literally like cold emailing people who I thought might be the right person, you know, introducing myself, offering my services, seeing if we could work together. And then I was also networking with running reviewers. So there was a handful of reviewers and a group that we kind of partnered up together, and we networked together, and we would give each other tips and tricks, and we would introduce each other to other people within the network. And that was really where a lot of things started to take off, where I got introduced to a handful of the bigger brands through this group. And then I was able to repay the favor and introduce them to a handful of brands just through my own efforts, my own networking, and then my attendance of the running event in 2024. What's really cool about the running shoe community and running shoe reviewer community is, for the most part, there are some personalities, yes, that like they don't really help each other out, and they don't help others out because they see everyone as competition. Like, those people exist. For the most part, though, when I was at the running event, the phrase that I kept hearing was a rising tide lifts all boats. And that was, you know, some of the, without like outing anyone in the community, like some of the biggest people in this space that I didn't know even knew I existed, right? Went out of their way to introduce me to people at brands, and went out of their way to take me under their wing. And, you know, it became clear, like one of them said, he was like, hey, like, man, like you deadlift more than ever, like, you know, I see you like out there like deadlifting a ton of weight, like that's crazy. And it's like it became very clear to me that like he had watched my content, which is really cool, right? So like some of the people that I really look up to in the industry after the running event in this last year, like I consider friends and colleagues, and that's like really, really awesome. And so what I'll say like about the running shoe community, like one, like you got to start where you're at, like review the shoes you have, right? There's got to be some level of buy-in, some financial investment, probably from yourself. Two, don't just expect stuff for free, right? Like I had to go work for my local running store outside of my full-time job. I was putting in extra hours producing content for other people so that I could get access to this world, and I learned a ton through that. Three, network, right? Like the brands aren't just going to slide into your DMs unless you have millions of followers. Brands are not just going to slide into your DMs. Like you need to go out of your way to try and find and identify who's in charge of certain things and introduce yourself and provide value, right? Like you need to provide value. And then four, like put in the effort. If you put in the effort, people seem to recognize that in this community and are more than willing to help, but they have to see that you're willing to work and that you're not just in it for free stuff, that you're genuinely trying to create something cool. So yeah, those are my tips to become a running shoe reviewer. I don't feel like I've made it yet. Obviously this channel has not grown to the place where I want it to be, but I'm really happy with the pacing. I'm really happy with, you know, the support that I'm receiving, and really happy with the overall growth. So I can't complain. But it is a grind. You're not going to become huge overnight. At least most people won't. On TikTok, on Instagram, and on here, I've had some videos that have done well, but what I'm most proud about is that my channels continue to grow, and it's this constant flow, and it's not just like a one-hit wonder. I find that it's going to be more sustainable long term, right? And it allows my audience to grow with me and actually know me, as opposed to just, you know, seeing one of my videos and subscribing and having no idea what I'm about and who I am. So anyway, I gotta go hit this run. But yeah, just a short Q&A today, hitting on a couple of different questions. Drop more in the comments if you have them. I'll try and do like a Q&A portion maybe of every weekly vlog. But I appreciate all the support that you guys provide, and all the comments, likes, subscriptions, all that. It means a lot to me, because you know, someone commented last week that they were like, "What am I supposed to get out of these vlogs? Like, you're everywhere." And I'm like, "Yeah, like it's a weekly vlog. It's just literally a video blog of my training in my life." And so I'm not trying to give you guys any specific value out of this. This is not educational content, but if I can provide some value, I would love to. So let me know. And as always, appreciate the support.
All right, warm-up feels okay. I'm not gonna lie, my quads feel pretty overworked. Not sure what's going on there, but gonna hit a couple of strides and then get into the tempos. We're doing 6:30, 7:30 for 1K repeats. So 1K at 6:30, 1K at 7:30 times 4, and then we'll cool down. So should be a fast and hard one.
All right, we are done. About 6.5 total miles, 4.8 of like quality. Spent in that threshold zone. So originally I wanted to do like 6:30, 7:30, basically go above and below threshold and jump back and forth. Keep in mind, threshold is a metabolic like benchmark, right? So it's the point at which you are basically no longer able to keep up with the energy demands based off of oxygen alone. And so your body has to switch over to more anaerobic processes where it's producing energy without oxygen, which then basically causes the lactate to start to spill over and accumulate in your blood. Now, basically you're not able to get enough oxygen into your bloodstream to your muscles to use that lactate as fuel. So it's not that the lactate itself is bad, it's just that you're no longer using that as energy, and your body is producing more waste product than it can recycle. So that benchmark can change depending on a number of things, and it's why a lot of pro athletes will actually test their blood lactate levels when doing these types of threshold workouts, or they get so familiar with how their body feels that they can kind of pinpoint where their lactate levels are based off of their breathing, based off of how they feel. So I felt okay today, not my best. So I did back off a little bit, probably about 15 seconds per mile pace. So, you know, I was originally going to run about 6:30, 7:30, and I ran more like 20 seconds back. So like 6:50, 7:50. 6:45, 7:45. So yeah, 15-ish seconds, and I split it that way. So I was able to maintain that. Felt really good. Could have kept going, and then hit my cool down. And I cut my cool down again today, just because I don't. It took me a while to get out the door. Spent too much time in the bathroom this morning. So anyway, I got to go get my son up. I'm running a little bit late, so I got to get him ready for school. But I'd say this was like a 7 out of 10 workout, right? Not my best workout, not my worst workout. It was just okay. I felt overall good about the effort, and I had a good workout on Tuesday. So overall feeling pretty good about this week. Gonna really deload next week and sharpen one last week before that 5K time trial. If I had to guess, I think I'm sub 1930. I think 1910 to 1920 is a reasonable range where I feel like I could hit, and hopefully my legs freshen up a little bit next week, and we have who knows, maybe sub 19 in the cards. So let's get it. Friday morning, we are getting my pre-workout in, and then we're gonna go for a 5.5 mile run. I slept pretty good last night, so I'm feeling okay. I mean, I am tired, but it's kind of just life. Yeah, gonna get out there. A lot of the days, like a lot of Wednesdays and Fridays, I end up running on the treadmill just because my legs are really heavy. I want to get outside today. I don't know why. That's just what I'm feeling. So got the puffer jacket on, the down jacket, and we're gonna get out there and stay warm, and just get some miles in. It's gonna be a really busy work day. So sometimes on Fridays I sleep in and then I save my run for my lunch break. I legitimately won't get a break until about 3:30 today. So I've got to take advantage of the time now before everyone's awake. So let's go get it in. Today we're running in the Hylo Impact. Hylo Impact, this is kind of a boutique brand or just a small brand. This is the only model they have right now. Essentially, it's kind of like an everyday trainer, maybe recovery day shoe, but honestly the foam is squishy yet somewhat responsive, and so these are going to be, I think, a good standard like all-around trainer. And they're not new necessarily. They released, I think, last year. Like when I say last year, like early 2024. I just got connected with them recently though, so I'm gonna get some miles on them, get a full review and everything going here soon. But yeah, let's get going.
Legs are a little heavy today, but not as bad as I expected. It's also not as cold as I expected. So this jacket was way overkill, but it's all right. We're moving.
Saturday morning, I am getting ready to head to the trail. I'm actually running a little late and I gotta go pick up my friend, but we're just gonna do like 8 to 9 miles easy on the trail. Just to round out the week. That'll put me, I think, around like 45 miles. So lower overall volume this week, which is what I was going for. And yeah, just gonna taper in next week to the time trial. So we'll see where we land, but we gotta get going.
So this is not what the weather forecast was showing when we looked. But as you can see, it's snowing. Yeah, it's colder, it's wetter, it's snowy, beautiful. I used to run like almost exclusively trail, and in the winter, you know, sometimes it gets up to like your knees, and so you'd run real slow, but it was very difficult, very fun. So it's nice to get back out here. But got the Silvertons from Speedland on foot today. Grip's handling this really well. There are some icy sections where, yeah, might have been nice to have some studs, but overall there's enough powder that we're safe. So good run so far. Just going 8 easy, but just because obviously 8 on this takes way longer than 8 on the road, we may just stick to like 90 total minutes. So I mean, if you didn't have an apple, maybe you can have. I said PR. Woohoo! Whoa, freak! All right, there we go. That's the week. Like what, 42 miles, 7 something hours of running. So obviously we're tapering down a little bit. Not an aggressive taper, but we just reduce some volume, trying to get some freshness, some energy back in the legs and in the body. And then next week we'll do kind of a true taper into the 5K time trial. So I've been at this for almost 6 months, trying to really improve. And, you know, we've had some illness. We've had some plantar fasciitis pain. We've had some calf pain, different things, but we've been able to be, I would say, pretty damn consistent throughout. And so I'm pretty happy with my training block, what I've been able to do. And yeah, all there's left to do is to go try it. Now, if I don't hit my goal, then I will go into a base build. I'm thinking maybe an 8 to 12 week base build, and then I'll come back to 5K training afterwards, because the goal is still to take out the 5K, 10K half marathon before I go sub 3. But I want to get some races on the calendar too, so we may end up doing some of this out of order. We'll see how it goes. But overall, good week, feeling good. It was nice to get back out in the snow on the trail. So we'll see you again next week.